Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seize the day. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay. And we got a new captain now. Tom Brady's at the helm. Brought his first mate Gronk. Hell yeah, it's going down. Getting nasty in the trenches, man. Nah, they don't want that. Steady Tristan Wirfs, Steve Smith, Ali Marpet coming acting hungry, getting worked by Jansen. Chef until the whistle, boy, you serve them pancakes. Giving Brady time to drop back and hit Cam break. First down, Tampa Bay. Pounding rock with Rojo and Fournette until they break. When the front seven wear down, we working them DBs. Hit Godwin, AB, Scotty get 13. Hit him on the crossing route, hit him on the post. You can hit him underneath or just hit him on the goals. When they think they got it figured out and we exposed, Tyler Johnson making grabs, boy, you already know. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seize the day. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up, we buck 'em up, we buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, defense. Hey, goodbye, boy, you can't move. Number one rush defense in the league starts up front. Y'all don't want no smoke with them dudes. The squad goes William, goes to Nunez, Roaches, Vita Vea, McClendon, led better, and Dama Kinsu. Try Tucktail, no matter which way that you head. Jason Pierre, Paul, and Sack Barrett off of the edge. Devin White's an animal looking to be fed. Levante ain't playing games, this is where the play ends. Winfield Juniors making men cry. Dean and CD3 regulate the outside. When they ask who we are, we ain't gotta mention names. We some who gon' find a way to win the game. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seize the day. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay. No biscuit, BA is the man. Left twitching bowls, keep devising the plan to make sure we keep winning. One goal is advance. Keep picking against us, we don't give a damn. We'll still hold the Lombardi trophy overhead as the first team to do it in front of our fans. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seize the day. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Frankly Speaking Sports. I want to welcome you all here today. We are on Northeast Streaming Sports. We are on a lot of different locations. It said that I want to check this out real quick for anybody that's online. Let me know if I'm still on, because it's saying that somebody cut me off here, and I just want to make sure as we go on here that we are still playing here. So I'm going to go look real quick. So stay with me, folks, as I go ahead. And it looks like we are still playing. So I'm going to assume that we are still on. If any of those fans out there can go ahead and make sure that I am still on, I would surely appreciate it. I'm holding on for 1 second. And it looks like we are still. But it looks like I'm still on, so I'm going to assume that I'm still on. Hey, it's Tommy from Temple Terrace. Tommy, how you doing tonight, buddy? For all of you guys that are on there on different platforms, if you can go ahead and please share this to your timeline, share it to some other groups. We want to get as much participation as possible this evening. We want to thank you all so very, very much for joining us tonight. What a great, great show we have for you, that we have in store for you tonight. In about 20 minutes, we're going to go ahead and have, Lincoln Kennedy, three-time Pro Bowler. He played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 2003 World Series. We got just an unbelievable show for you. We are coming live tonight, live from Northeast Streaming Sports, not live from Frankly Speaking Sports, not live from Crew Life. Don't worry, both those groups are still around. We are sharing it to them. We just went ahead with this format tonight to change things up a little bit. I do want to thank everybody for being here. We got a lot of things to go over, and obviously the big discussion, the big talk is definitely the Super Bowl 55, Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing home against the Kansas City Chiefs. And, it's just incredible, how this game is going to turn out. We're now in the second week of the bye week. So everybody should be coming down. But, when you listen to the media and you listen to the local media today and you listen about Radio Row, a lot of them are talking about there wasn't a lot of people at Radio Row. And, my first ammunition is, did you expect differently? I mean, they're going to show up. Kansas City media will probably show up tomorrow. Some of the main networks who aren't down are going to show up. But, we're in the middle of an epidemic. And as much as we want to believe that things can go on as much as natural, when it comes to Media Row, when it comes to the media and interviewing these players, it's not going to be like it was last year. It is definitely not going to be like last year. And already today, if you did not hear, there was breaking news from the Kansas City Chiefs that both center Daniel Kilgore and wide receiver Demarcus Robinson are now on the COVID-19 reserve list. What does that mean? That means they have not contracted COVID-19. What it means is they were in the vicinity of somebody that carried COVID-19, and as long as they continue to test negative up to the Super Bowl, both of them will be allowed to play in the Super Bowl. Once again, Daniel Kilgore and Demarcus Robinson, both are on the COVID-19 reserve list because they've been around somebody who had COVID-19. So as long as they go ahead once again and test negative throughout the week, they will be allowed to play in the upcoming game this week. And, when you look at this Super Bowl and you look at some of the storylines, we talk about Mahomes, we talked about Brady, we talk about these two unbelievable powered offenses. We want to welcome Martin to the show tonight. Martin, thank you so very, very much. Our first guest is going to be about 9:25 today. I just put up a call-in number. If you want to call in before 9:25 and you want to talk some football or any other sports, obviously our big topic here in Tampa, Florida is the Super Bowl. So, we don't want to mislead you. We are going to be talking a lot about the Super Bowl. But the big story of the weekend wasn't even related to the Super Bowl. It was the trade between the LA Rams and the Detroit Lions, where Jared Goff goes over to Detroit, and in return, Detroit gives up Matthew Stafford. They get Jared Goff, and it's just amazing what they gave up. Just amazing. Detroit gets 2 first-round picks. They get a 3rd-round pick, and they get Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Sometimes I don't understand, and I understand the salary, but, when you look at this team and you look what Detroit got in return for Matthew Stafford, they have the ability right now to go out there, pick up a free agent quarterback if they want to as a backup. They now have Jared Goff, who is an average quarterback, I would say at best, maybe a little above average, but they get 2 number 1 picks and a number 3. And over the next couple of years, that means they're going to have 2 first-round picks in the next 2 years. And you talk about boosting up that team, as long as they got somebody in the front office who knows what the heck they're doing, they are going to be very, very successful, or should be, in the next 4 or 5 years. Want to welcome our good buddy Eric from Gainesville on the show. We did give a call-in number. If anybody wants to call in the next 10 minutes, please go ahead and do so. It's welcome. Those of you listening on several different platforms tonight, we got Kansas City platforms. We got Tampa platforms. We got the Northeast Streaming Sports out of the Northeast part of the United States on tonight. Want to welcome them. What a great, great show, but it is only as good as the involvement we get. If you want to call in, talk a little bit about the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Super Bowl, even the trade, go ahead. But, the one thing that really, really bugs me, and I'm not going to elaborate on it because I want to try to stay as positive as I can during Super Bowl week. And it is definitely a discussion that we have to have, and we'll probably get into it more after the Super Bowl. But I look around and I look at all the coaches that have been hired over the past couple weeks. Since the season ended, I think it's 6 or 7 head coaches. Don't quote me on the number. And I still can't believe when I look over that Eric Bieniemy is still not a head coach in the NFL. It just amazes me. It makes you think twice about what the heck is the reason that Eric Bieniemy has not gotten a coaching job. When you look at this guy and you look what he's done, they say, well, first thing I heard, well, he doesn't call plays. Come on, people. Let's get real a minute. Doesn't call plays. Okay, big deal. He's leading the number 1 offense the last 2 years to the Super Bowl twice. If that's not enough to talk about leadership and talks about his ability and capability to motivate young men, then what else is? It's BS that this man does not have a job. That's number 1. I heard he may not interview well. But you know what? If you're a good owner, if you're a good GM, and you see a guy that's constantly producing results and just may not be able to communicate well with you for whatever reason it is, doesn't mean he's not a good coach. Doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability to be a good coach. And it really questions it, and I'm not going to get into this, 70% black players in the NFL. Why aren't we hiring more black coaches? At the end of the day, I don't think that coaches should be hired because of the color of their skin. They should be hired on the merit and their ability to perform the job. And when you look at Eric Bieniemy, he has that profile to fit the job description to be a head coach in the NFL. It's ridiculous that we're coming at this time when we have to go ahead and give people incentives for them to hire black coaches in the NFL. It's just ridiculous, ludicrous, and should be unheard of. Nobody should tell anybody who they should hire. But on the same token is nobody should deny this man, Eric Bieniemy, an opportunity when he deserves it as much as he does. This man has proven year after year after year that he has the ability to go ahead and lead high-powered offenses to the Super Bowl. What else do you need? What else do you need? Okay, and we've had Steve Weiss on our show. We've had Jim Trotter on our show. We've had other people on our show, and we discussed this topic even before the season ended. And, when they come out and they make these comments that, what else, Larry, can it be? Then possibly it has to make you ask the question, is it the color of their skin? And I cannot look back at either Steve or Jim or whoever made the comments and say to them, you're wrong, because there's something not right here. There is something definitely not right here in why Eric Bieniemy is still not a head coach in the NFL. And I don't know what the reason is, but damn it, it should be figured out, because I'll tell you right now, if I was a GM in the NFL right now looking for a head coach, who the heck wouldn't want a guy that can probably within a year or two get you one of the most prolific, high-powered offenses in the league? It doesn't make sense. I don't know why, but at the end of the day, you really got to question why he doesn't have a head coaching job yet. I'd love to hear from the fans. You can leave a comment. We have a call-in number. We got about 10 minutes before Lincoln Kennedy, 3-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle, who played in the 2003 Super Bowl for the Raiders, actually, versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going to be joining us live. So we're looking forward to having him on. But I really wonder sometimes on why. It just amazes me. And, the other big news in the NFL as we get into Super Bowl week is, where is Deshaun Watson going? We're not going to sit here and talk about Deshaun Watson the rest of the day. Like I said, it's Super Bowl week. I do want to answer questions in regards to the Super Bowl. But, if somebody asks me, and once again, this is a topic of discussion for later weeks after the Super Bowl, but if you want to know one team that I think, and I've heard a couple of teams that Deshaun would be here good. Imagine him in New England. And he probably wouldn't be bad in New England. But, if I'm Deshaun Watson and I know that Big Ben is going to retire, which right now Big Ben says he will take a pay cut to play, although, it's not up to me whether he should retire or not. But if Big Ben was to move over and retire, Deshaun Watson would be a perfect fit in the Steel City in Pittsburgh. I think he would be an unbelievable pick. Now, for those of you folks that are tuning in, you're in the Tampa Bay area. Let me see if I can check this for you real quick here. Let me see if I can. All right. We want to make sure we do keep you updated. We understand we got the Super Bowl going. A lot of people, we also want to remind you that you do have a hockey team that is playing. They are 4-1-1 on the year, the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the third period with 6:42 left, and it's 4-2. The Lightning are beating the Predators. Like I said, the Lightning are 4-1-1. And let's see if we can tell you who scored the goals here. It looks like Stamkos has a goal. Yanni Gord has a goal. Palat and Point also have a goal. So, 4 different goals by 4 different players for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, if they should win today, the Lightning will move to 5-1-1 on this very young year. Next week, we'll talk a lot more about the Lightning, a lot more about the Rays, who are going to be playing here shortly. The season opens up April 1st. Lots and lots of stuff. But for the next 3 days, or 4 days that we're on the air here, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. We're about 5 minutes away from having Lincoln Kennedy on. And, one of the big things, we talk about turnovers all year long and how turnovers, let's see, Eric, I didn't get tickets to tailgate, but I'll be there in spirit. All right, Eric. Larry, let's go ahead and bring this question up. All right. Larry, what is your 3 keys to the Bucs win on Sunday? Okay, that's from Tommy. Tommy, real quick, I'll answer that question. Number 1, I think that we have to establish the run game. Number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs are not the best defense when it comes to a run. What a contradiction versus the team they're playing, who has the best rush defense in the NFL, being your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Bucs have to get Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette going. Obviously, you would love the 1-2 punch, and you would love them to both contribute, but whoever has the hot hand has to be the one that Arians goes with through the game. Number 2, you got to win the turnover battle. And, a lot of people are going to say, well, Larry, we didn't win the turnover battle last week in New Orleans and we still won. But that doesn't happen. That is a rarity, and that will not happen again. You got to remember, when you're playing a big-time game like the Super Bowl, you not only have the best coaches usually in the league, the better quarterbacks in the league, you have the best defenses in the league, the best teams in the league. So when you don't win the turnover battle and your team's defense creates a turnover or your offense commits a turnover, it is magnified so much more and costs you so much more in a Super Bowl than it does in any other game. It is on stage. And, number 3 is going to be that pass rush of our defense. And when I talk about the running game, before I get to our pass rush, excuse me a second. When I talk about the running game is also going to establish game management, and we need to have some sustained drives. That's what the running game does, Tommy, to the team. We talked about the turnovers. That goes without saying. Number 3, everybody talks about the defensive rush, that the offensive line is banged up. That Kansas City offensive line has been banged up all year, and they've been playing pretty well all year long. I know Mahomes got banged up, but the key is going to come down to, can the defensive rush of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get to Mahomes before he has the opportunity to hit his receivers downfield versus that Buccaneers secondary? Now, I know the Buccaneers secondary has been playing much better the past couple of weeks, but, you got to remember, this is Patrick Mahomes. Just like Tom Brady is great, there's a reason why Patrick Mahomes is great. If you get to him fast enough, you're going to win this game. If you don't, you got to be careful, because sometimes the pass defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do allow some yardage in front of them. And once again, that's going to be up to Todd Bowles to see what kind of defensive scheme he plays, if he's going to go ahead, back up into that press, or he's going to get more aggressive and play that man-to-man. So those are my 3 keys: the running game, the turnover battle, and the front 7 getting to Mahomes before he can make something happen. I don't think the running game is going to be any big issue, the Kansas City Chiefs running game. I really don't think, everybody knows this big-time Travis Kelce that you got to watch out. He is their main man. And if you can, go ahead and put a lot of pressure on him and also be able to contain Kelce, it's not going to give him time to throw, and we're going to see our Buccaneers prevail. Let Lincoln know that we'll be in touch with him in about 2 minutes. So stay with me, folks, please. There we go. All right. The phone number isn't valid. Okay. Let's see. Let me see what's going on here with his phone number for a minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and try to get Lincoln on the phone now, I guess. Let's see. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor, thrill, and pleasure to introduce to you on the Frankly Speaking Sports Hotline. Let's welcome in Lincoln Kennedy. Lincoln, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Frankly Speaking Sports. I really appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Lincoln, let's go back in time before we go over the Super Bowl in your career. You're the NFL's first-round pick, number 9 in the 1993 draft. Let me ask you this. Being a first-round pick, being picked number 9, the first Oakland Raider pick, did you feel like when you started playing that you had extra pressure on you because you were the number one pick?
Well, just to clarify things, I was chosen by the Atlanta Falcons.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. No, you know what? It wasn't like there was pressure. The fact is that Ken Arok, who was the team president, general manager, had told me that he envisioned Bob Whitfield, who came out of Stanford the year before, for us to be the bookends, the franchise bookends of the future. And so that's what we have played it up to be. It wasn't a whole lot of pressure because as an offensive lineman, you know, you're supposed to make an impact, but you're not supposed to make a whole lot of changes because you're not a ball carrier. But nonetheless, I felt that I wanted to have a good year because I wanted to live up the expectations and really prove that I deserved to be picked in the first round.
Yeah, now, you know, and the reason I ask you this, Lincoln, we got a guy over here in Tampa Bay that's just had an outstanding year, played the same position that you played, offensive tackle in Tristan Wirfs. And I don't know how much you've gotten to watch him this year, but this guy's given up in his rookie year 1 sack. He's played just about every down. How impressive is it for a young kid to come in the NFL right out of college and to perform at the level that he is performing?
Well, it shows you the value of taking an offensive lineman in order to protect your quarterback. You know, you've got a Hall of Fame quarterback in Tom Brady. You need to keep him upright. So it's good that Tampa Bay paid attention to its offensive line to give him protection. And that's one of the reasons why they were so successful this year.
Yeah, and no doubt about that success from that offensive line. You know, as an offensive lineman, you don't, you know, always get the recognition. You're in the trenches, you're getting down and dirty. Seems like the quarterbacks or the receivers or the running backs are always getting the credit, and you guys are, you know, very quietly being acknowledged. Let me ask you this. As a 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, how special is it for an offensive lineman when they get recognized for like a Pro Bowl or an All-Pro due to the fact that they're not in a position where their name is always in the paper?
Well, it's always special when you're recognized for awards and trophies, but the fact is that offensive linemen prefer not to be acknowledged. We're acknowledged to the stats that our offense gives. If we score a lot of points, if we're running the ball successfully, if we're good on 4th down and good on short yardage, that's all the accolades that I need or I'm particularly fond of because I know that I'm doing my job well, and collectively we're doing our job well as a group.
Now, you know, after Atlanta, you went over to Oakland and you had the opportunity to play, you know, unfortunately for you, the Oakland Raiders, the 2003 Super Bowl, which you lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Talk about before the game, but talk about the experience that it was. What was that like the week leading up to the Super Bowl? Because if I'm correct, you only had 1 week to prepare, not the 2 weeks that they have, you know, like they have today. What was that like? What was the hoopla, the media, all that leading up to it?
Well, it was really rushed because what you have these days, 2 weeks compacted into one. So, you know, everything from the travel to the media day to all the fanfare and everything else, as well as trying to create or maintain a normal business week, everything was rushed and compacted. With that being said, you know, it's something that's the reason why we were the last of the 1 weekers, because the NFL wanted a better product on the field, and we didn't show up as well as I wanted us to that day.
Yeah, and let me ask you, you know, I always wondered this about a Super Bowl team, and I'm sure you might be able to answer this, Lincoln. But when you go into a Super Bowl, and let's say, you know, you had some issues, you lost the game, you know, people say, oh, well, they got to the Super Bowl, but there's got to be a mental aspect next year when you come back, whether you say, okay, we came this close, let's try to win it again, or is it a mental attitude where you're like, look how hard we worked our butts off to lose a game in the Super Bowl? I mean, what type of mental attitude does it bring to the team that loses the following year?
Well, it's really hard. It's really deflating. And some people call it as the Super Bowl hangover. I will say this. It's hard to get to the Super Bowl. And, you know, there were 3 years that we were knocking on the doorstep. We had the AFC Championship game against the Raiders in 2000, which we lost. That was a chance for the Super Bowl. We had to go to the Tuck Rule in 2001 with, you know, New England ended up losing. They ended up going to the Super Bowl. And then 2002 going. And then 2003, the year was a disaster, absolute disaster. I think we only won 4 games the following year. So there were a lot of things that were going on in that factor. But losing the Super Bowl is hard enough. Coming back the year after, trying to make an impact or do something better is even harder.
Yeah, and you went up against a 2003 against a Buccaneer defense that was considered one of the better defenses of all time. I mean, how good was that defense?
Well, it was good enough to stop us. You get 4 turnovers and a touchdown, so I think the proof is in the pudding.
Well, yeah, I got that. Now, who did you have to line up against on that team in that Super Bowl?
I don't remember the name off chance. It wasn't a guy I was familiar with or ever played against. So I'm not really sure off the top of my head who he was.
All right, that's fine. Now, one thing you did do that a lot of people in Tampa, if they go back in time, you did have some time in Tampa Bay. It wasn't just with the Buccaneers. You played a couple of years with the Tampa Bay Storm, went to the Arena Bowl. What was your time like in Tampa Bay?
Well, Arena Bowl was a totally different monster. I had 1 year with Tampa Bay, and Markham was the coach. I had familiarity with Tom Markham because he was a defensive coach when I was with the Falcons. So we knew each other. But, the Arena Bowl scene is a whole different monster, different fanfare. It was great. I enjoyed it. I wish we had better accommodations and conditions. But, Arena football is not as popular as NFL football, so you kind of have to just get in where you fit in.
Now, Lincoln, I know you do your own show, and you're an analyst as well. What do you think? In your opinion, your professional opinion, that the Kansas City Chiefs have to do to stop the high-powered Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, I think it's the other way around. I think the Buccaneers have got to find a way to stop the high-powered Chiefs. I think the offensive philosophy as well as the output of this Chiefs offense makes it hard for our teams to keep up, much like Golden State when they have their run. Therefore, you got to score touchdowns. Field goals aren't going to beat this team. So Tom Brady's going to have to do his best on offense, and Bruce Arians and this offense is going to have to control and keep the ball away from them. More importantly, this defense is for the Buccaneers, is going to have to continue to play with an attitude like they've done so far in the playoffs. That is the only way I think they can beat the Chiefs. Other than that, I think it's going to be a shootout, to be honest with you.
Do you think the banged-up offensive line for the Chiefs is being made more than it really is to be? Because if you look at this Chiefs offensive line, it seems like they've been banged up all year and they've been doing just fine. I mean, yes, Mahomes got hit the last game a couple of times. Do you think that's going to be a big factor in the game, or do you think they should prevail just like they have all year?
Well, the fact is that the Chiefs have found a way to work around their offensive line deficiencies all year and put themselves in a position where they have a chance to repeat. This offense is that good. This quarterback is that qualified and capable. The thing is that you're going to have to get pressure on or either make them hold the ball, but they play insanely smart offense. And when you give Andy Reid 2 weeks to prepare for a team, he's shown you how good he can be. So it's going to be a tough task. But this defense for the Buccaneers has been played well against the run, which they're going to have to continue to do. And more importantly, they've been able to generate pressure with their front four. So I think that's going to be essential for them to get some pressure on Patrick Mahomes as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. When you played in the Super Bowl, how long did it take? I mean, how many downs before the nerves finally settled in and you were able to focus 100%?
It took a while. I mean, the fact is you're playing in Super Bowl, all the world, the eyes are. But usually when you go out there for the first series, you try to treat it like any other football game. It's just towards the end you realize the ramifications of either winning or losing because it is a championship.
Now, Lincoln, I know everybody talks about the amazing quarterback matchup. Everybody, the level that Tom Brady's playing. He's 43 years old. They can't believe that he came down to Tampa Bay and was able to do what he has done. Are you one of those people who was surprised, or did you think even before the year that Tom Brady would have a successful year?
I've always felt the quarterback gets too much credit when things go right, too much blame when things go wrong. But that being said, what set this team apart this year is this defense, the way it's been playing. And I think being at the top of its game, especially in that division that they're playing, you're being tested all the time. They really showed me something when they came alive against the Saints. That has been the difference maker, their defense. And Tom Brady, yes, has done what he's supposed to do, manage the game, not turn over the ball. That's what he's done his entire career. He's a smart quarterback that plays well with pre-snap reads. But this defense is what put them over the top to me.
Yeah, and it was led. I mean, they got a bunch of great guys on defense. What do you think about Devin White and what he's done for this team?
Well, I'm really impressed by Devin White. I wish the Raiders would have taken him with their first pick, but I understand what they got because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have got a future playmaker and impact player, and he is the main catalyst for that defense.
Now, Lincoln, are you going to be down here for the Super Bowl, or are you staying back home?
No, I'm staying home.
Okay, you're staying home. I did want to ask you a question. You got a big honor quite a few years, I say quite a few years ago. You were inducted into the College Hall of Fame. Talk about that moment and what it meant to you being inducted into the College Hall of Fame.
Well, it's a really humbling thing when you think about it because there's not that many guys that get inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. There's a very small percentage when you consider how many college football teams there are out there throughout history. To be inducted is definitely a tremendous honor. And as well as the class that I went into with a lot of great guys, you know, Ricky Williams, Brian Bosworth. There was a lot of good guys that I went in with and had a great time. It's just a tremendous honor. It's a very humbling honor and something that I'm very proud of.
Now, Lincoln, before I let you run here, my friend, and I once again I appreciate your time. If you have to go out on a limb, and I'm not worried about a score, but who do you think prevails in this Super Bowl?
Kansas City Chiefs.
And the reason being?
Reason being, I think it's the young, innovative quarterback who's going to come in and put on a show. I think it's going to force put a lot of pressure on Tom Brady, and he's probably going to have a couple of turnovers. I just think that the time has changed for the changing of the guard. You got the old GOAT going out and the new GOAT coming up.
All right, my friend. Listen, I want to thank you so very much for taking your time today to be on Frankly Speaking Sports. I really enjoyed having you.
Well, appreciate you having me, and have a great one.
All right, you too, my friend. Be safe.
Yeah, sounds good. Bye now.
That was Lincoln Kennedy, the three-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle, was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons in the first round of the 1993 draft, and then he was also in the Super Bowl versus your very own Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you got to hear from him, quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead. I'm putting up a fan-in call line right now. So anybody that's listening, it doesn't matter what platform you're on right now. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. We're going to be able to take some questions from you, and we'll answer them to our best ability. And remember, we have one phone line here. So if somebody's on the phone with me, please wait till they hang up, and we will go ahead, and then we will talk to you, and then you can call in. But while we're waiting for a couple of people to call in, I'm going to leave the number up here. But let's listen to what Tom Brady had to say about all the hoopla going around this week for the Super Bowl.
Wisdom to some of the younger players who want to do the same types of things. So I think we're always supposed to be better, and as we grow and evolve, and as we learn more, we continue to train better, we eat better, we learn the right techniques, and I hope everyone can reach their potential. That's ultimately what it's all about. So I try to do with myself. It wasn't about 40 touchdown passes. It's that I do the best I could do, that I put in the work every day to put myself in a position to be the best I could for my team, and that's really where my motivation comes from.
We'll go to Greg Allman.
Hey, Tom, you've had a lot of coaches, a lot of new voices this year, but wanted to ask you about Tom Moore and what you've gained from the perspective of everything he's seen in his coaching career.
He's seen a lot, and he's been someone who I looked over at the opposing sideline for a lot of years. So there was a little bit of that this year with Coach Moore and Clyde, some of the guys that I've kind of gone against, and have a lot of respect for Coach Moore. We had a lot of great conversations about football, and he has great football knowledge. He's kind of a football encyclopedia, and whatever he says, I obviously try to incorporate, whether it's techniques, fundamentals, or how he sees the game, because he's had a lot of success. And I love hearing different ideas and hearing how different people approach the game. And He's does a great job for us.
We'll go to Ryan Dunleavy.
Tom, I'm wondering what no risk it, no biscuit means to you, and when was the first time you heard that? I assume it was with New England. When was the first time you heard that? What'd you think of that saying?
I heard of it in a press conference, and I've heard it quite a few times this year, and that's referencing BA's approach, and I really love his approach. He's coaches to win, and I don't think there's any fear he has about things not going the right way. I think he has an approach and style, and he wants us to go out there and perform at our best, and he's not going to hold anything back. And if there's an opportunity to take over the game, that's what he's going to do. So, I really enjoyed it, embraced it, and, love going out there, trying to perform for him, perform for this team. And he's done an incredible job for us this year.
We'll go to Nate Burleson.
Hey, what's up, Tom? How you doing?
Nate, I love your show, man. You guys do a great job. Peter and Kay, you guys do a great job, man. Keep it up.
I appreciate that. That means a lot, man. So I'm working on behalf of Extra, so I want to take a little bit of a different spin when I ask you a question. I've talked with Jermaine Wiggins, Randy Moss, Deion Branch, all my former teammates, and yours. And I was always fascinated with your career, being a wide receiver. And the more I hear stories about you, the more it reminds me of the stories I hear about Jordan and Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. And the more I realize that it's okay to be addicted to success, to be obsessed with wanting to be great, to be heads over heel in love with your craft. For your craft, it's football. So it's twofold. One, is it okay to change the connotation of those words? And then two, if you win this game, or the way you think, when you win this game, isn't it going to be hard as hell to walk away from it?
I think it's going to be hard to walk away whenever I decide to walk away, because it's been a huge part of my life for a long time. And I love thinking about it. I think football to me is much more than just a sport, because there's a physical element, there's the mental approach, how you're going to get the job done, and there's the emotional part. And all those things, I've found kind of ways to evolve at different times so that I could maximize my potential. And, I think for an individual player like myself as a quarterback, it's never about what I do. It's really always about what we do, because so much of it's being on the same page with my teammates, with the receivers, the tight ends, with the offensive line, with the coaches. And, part of the success and the enjoyment of the success is being able to enjoy that success with everybody, because everybody plays a critical role, and there's nothing you can accomplish in football without the support of the entire team. So, I chose team sports for a reason, because I love having teammates, and I love sharing those experiences with those guys, and I love seeing those guys reach their potential. And I think for an older athlete like myself, so much the enjoyment comes from me helping others too. So that's probably why I'm still doing it. It's not about me, Tom Brady. It's about us, the Bucs, and what we can accomplish. And we just got to go finish the deal. So it's been a great year thus far. I've learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about my teammates. But we've got a chance now to go accomplish the ultimate goal. And we're 4 quarters away. It's going to take great effort. We're playing a great team, another team that I think has a lot of those things and doing it the right way. And it's going to be a great challenge.
Yes, it's going to be an unbelievable challenge. Want to remind all of you that are listening on different platforms, we got about 10-15 minutes left in the show. Want to remind you all, we'd love you to participate. We'd love you to call in. We put a call-in number there, 813-922-9810. We would love you to call in, love to answer your questions. But, you listen to these guys and you listen to everything that's being said. I mean, this is going to probably go down as an unbelievable Super Bowl. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on this week. And, I want to let everybody know in advance that, of course, tomorrow night, I have another obligation. I'm going to be on somebody else's podcast from up north that wants me to come on to talk about our Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm glad I could do it. Very glad I could do it. And then on Wednesday, we got a lineup on Wednesday and Thursday for you folks, and it's not done yet. Right now, Wednesday night, we have a couple of people in the works we're trying to get, and we will make it definitely public as soon as it is. But as of now, Wednesday night, former Houston Oiler cornerback, unbelievable play. And I did say Houston Oiler. Chris Dishman is going to be joining us. So we got a lot going on that day, and we may have a very big star, another one on that night. We're just waiting for the finals on that. Then we have some other people as well. As of now, on Thursday night, Big Nasty, of course, will be on Thursday. He is going to the game. He is going to the game. We heard from his public relations director that he is going. But we all, as of now, have former Buccaneer Reuben Davis and Frank Middleton, who will be joining us as well to talk about the Bucs in the Super Bowl. We have a couple of other players in line as well. But once again, we want to get 100% confirmation before we make it official. So we have Chris Dishman Wednesday night, Thursday night, Keith Kunzig, Reuben Davis, and Frank Middleton. And like I said, we have about 5 or 6 other people in the works that we're still waiting on some answers for. I'm not going to go ahead and tell you who they are right now because I don't want to put any extra pressure on those individuals. I will tell you they all have played in the National Football League. And then next week, we go back to some type of normalcy as we will get back to our regularly scheduled programming, talking about all the big news that is going on, whether it's the NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA. We'll have stars from the NBA, stars from the NHL, former stars, Major League Baseball. We have quite a few people in the works to come on. Like I said, we have a couple of minutes left in our show. For those of you listening on several different platforms, go ahead and dial me up, 813-922-9810. If you have a Super Bowl question, if you have a question on the Chiefs, Buccaneers, or anything else you may want to talk about in the next 10 minutes, go ahead, give us a call. That's what we're here for. This is your opportunity to talk about the Bucs. If you're in Tampa, it's your opportunity to talk about the Chiefs. If you're in Kansas City, or if you want to just talk about the Lightning or the Rays or any of your teams, go ahead and do so. We left the last 10 minutes of this show open because we know the next couple of nights it's going to get pretty intense here with all the different guests that we're expecting. If you didn't see our show last week, the one before the Green Bay Packer game, you missed a heck of a show. We had Jeff Garcia, Randy Grimes. Give me 1 second here. I'll tell you everybody we had on. That's right. It was 2 weeks ago. I almost lost my days. We had Ken Dilger, Ricky Reynolds. What a show that was. So you started off with Big Nasty. We had Dilger, Grimes, Reynolds, and Garcia. And go back. That's we have those all saved. What great, great interviews. I didn't want to ask the same people back on 2 weeks in a row. I felt, they were so courteous and so nice enough to come on the first time. I didn't want to, just push it to the limit, so to speak. So we did appreciate them coming on, but what a great, great show. I want to look here if there's any other messages here. We are live in the UK. Look at that, people. For those of you that are watching our show, we'd like to let you all know that not only now are we all over the United States of America, but we go live in the United Kingdom. Want to thank Northeast Streaming Sports for that incredible, incredible job over there, guys, getting us on internationally. Everybody watching in the UK, I want to say hello. Hopefully you're Buccaneer fans. We welcome you, as always, to any of our shows that are on. Thank you so much for joining us on Northeast Streaming Sports. We do appreciate it. Isn't that great? That is just great, 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 great. And let's see. What are you? Okay, we did our 3 keys. I'm just making sure I answered everybody's questions that have asked me. I try to answer as many as possible as we go on the show. But it's, for those of you, Sunday night, 6:30, right here in Tampa. I know a lot of people are traveling down tomorrow and Wednesday, from what I understand, especially from the Kansas City area. I know we got 3 or 4 or 5 different platforms from Kansas City on tonight. You know, if you need any help when you're down here, lots of stuff going on. You can contact me on Frankly Speaking Sports. You can also contact Rob Thompson at Crew Life, CRUE, and then Life, LIFE. All of us are here to help you. You know, we're one big, big family. And we'll go ahead and, you know, hopefully, you know, be able to answer all your questions that we need to answer. I think that is it, folks. Let me just make sure as I check to see if anything else came down the pipes here. All right, as we did get a message, let me make sure. All right, so some pretty, okay, that's good. Good news there as we go ahead and answer that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Frankly Speaking Sports, Northeast Streaming Sports, and Crew Life, we want to thank you very, very much for joining us tonight. We also want to thank our very special guest, Lincoln Kennedy, for coming on tonight. Great, great job. He's an NFL analyst. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Drafted by the Falcons, played in the Super Bowl for the Raiders. Really, really nice to have him on. On behalf of everyone, have a good night, be safe, and we'll be back Wednesday with another edition of